Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Women's Sports Matter podcast. My name is Gianna Belcastro, and I am your host. I've got a lot to talk about today, and what I believe would be a short amount of time, but hey, who knows, I can go on and on and on. I've had some pretty long episodes in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if, I just kept talking, because that's what happens, but I got some stuff to go over first before we get started. Today's topic, of course. If you didn't expect me to do an episode about this, you are very deeply mistaken. The Chicago Sky are the WNBA champions in the year of 2021. 25th season of the WNBA, and now they are champs for the first time ever. Of course, led by the likes of Candace Parker, Kalia Copper, Allie Quigley, Courtney Vandersloot. I could say the whole team roster if I wanted to, but you get the gist of it. As calmly as I'm saying this right now, I am very pumped, and I have so much to say. So there's going to be a lot of fun twists and turns. This is going to be a very different kind of episode, because I'm not just going to be talking about this. I'm going to be talking about a lot of other stuff too. But before we get into the new WNBA champs and what it took to get there, I'm going to talk about my weekend. I had a very busy weekend. Today's Tuesday. I'm recording on Monday because I had a little malfunction. So if you're following me on social media, which if you aren't, I can't believe you. We've been talking about this for like a year now. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. On Instagram, you can find me at Women's Sports Matter, and on Twitter, you can follow me and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook have the same handle. It's WSM Podcast. So over the weekend, I was at Wizard World Chicago up in Rosemont, and it's the final year that it will be under this moniker. It will be now named Fan Expo. Huge shout out to my friend Jerry Milani for setting up such an awesome experience for me. I had not a guest pass. That is such baloney. It wasn't a guest pass. It was a press pass, guys. I am losing my mind because what I'm talking about is very exciting, and I just thinking about it makes me like, oh my god, this is a thing that has happened, and I'm really excited to talk about it. Okay. I got a press pass to Wizard World Chicago. And at first I was like, what am I doing here? Like, this is something that I don't need to be doing or, like, be involved with. But Wizard World Chicago is more than just, what you think it might be. It's all about pop culture. So my podcast, I believe, truly fit in with everything else. There was so much there. There was Star Wars stuff. There was anime. Harry Potter stuff, all these different vendors. There was a fudge vendor, which I did not have the chance to try, but everything looked really good. There were podcasts and there were interviews going on. I had the chance to record. And it will never hear the light of day. It will never hear the light of day, unfortunately. So I was at Wizard World Chicago, and the whole point of me going was, number one, to have a press pass, number two, well, maybe switch the order. Number one, record my show, and number two, have a press pass so I can go and check out the convention for myself. And so I did the recording. I was there. There's photo proof. There's people that were there, and they sat and they listened, which I thank them so much for. And some of them actually followed me on social while I was doing my show, and I was seeing it pop up on my phone, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is actually working. It didn't save correctly. The audio was effed up. It was effed up. It was so bad. And I should have recognized that from the start, but I thought it was okay. Like, when I'm doing this right now, I see the levels of my voice, and I wasn't seeing that when I was recording, and I should have known better, but I didn't. I was just like, I'm already nervous as it is, so I'm just going to go for it. And unfortunately, there is no episode. So, that's bad. So I guess it was like a special little thing if you were out in Rosemont. And I gained a lot of new followers over the weekend. And I'm very glad that these people will be by my side now for the rest of the podcast. I plan on doing this for a while. It's been 3 seasons in 1 year. And like I said, the season is ending. I don't know when. I got, like, so many more interviews that are gonna happen. Like, so many more. I'm just so pumped and excited to be having this and to be able to do it. But this is so great. I'm so pumped. Like, you guys have no idea how pumped I am to see all this stuff happen. But, again, I'm going off topic like I did when I was recording my live episode. I went off topic a lot. It was crazy. My goal was to talk about AU Hoops, which is going to be at the end of this episode, after I'm done talking about the WNBA championships, which was great. Was such a great game. Game 4. That was so good, but that's not the point of what I'm talking about right now. I went up on the stage. I did my thing for like 40 minutes. Like 42 minutes was how long the recording was. There was just 42 minutes of static at the end when I was going back to look, and I was like, oh, this is nice. So the people that were there, they got a special little episode learning more about me and the show and what to expect in the future. And, of course, if you're from the convention and you're listening right now, that's great. Thank you so much. There's so many episodes that you have to catch up on, by the way. I'm just kidding. You can listen to whatever, whenever. Nothing is set in a specific order, although, order is, like, of relevance, But some of them are just interviews that are there for you to listen to. You don't really have to listen to them, or you didn't have to tune into them at one point. So you can start really wherever. I'm super embarrassed of my original episodes, and I was talking about that too in Rosemont the other day. I was like, yeah, I was listening to it, and it was just so bad. I was sitting in my office, I was sitting in my mom's closet, and I have my phone up to my mouth, and I'm just talking. And I was doing the little thing with my voice where it's like, so now I'm talking like this, and I'm doing a different voice to record my episode. And now I'm just going back to, like, how I was talking. I think I was talking a little bit differently now that I think about it when I was at the convention. Because mostly I was really nervous, and I've never done anything like that before. I've done a speech. I've never done, like, a podcast thing before. Again, this is all very new. I've been doing this for a year. And it'll be 2 years in April. So I've been able to do so much in such a short amount of time, and I'm very, very grateful for that. It was good. I had a great time, and people were asking, like, how can I watch the Red Stars? And then I told them, like, the different ways that you can watch it. You can watch it on Paramount Plus. Sometimes, if you're lucky, they'll be on CBS Sports Network. And then you can watch them on Twitch for free. Paramount Plus, you gotta have a subscription. I use the student plan right now, and I got Paramount Plus for the sole purpose of watching soccer. That is why I have that. And I also watched the new iCarly because, iCarly, the original one, was out when I was growing up, and I watched that. And now I'm watching soccer, and I'm watching the new iCarly. Well, I finished the new iCarly, but Champions League is on Tuesday. Well, that's the day that episode is coming out. Tomorrow for me, today for you. Chelsea doesn't play until Wednesday, maybe. Yeah, but I love soccer so much that I bought a streaming service. Another one. I bought another streaming service. I got 2 streaming services that I'm paying for right now. Again, I'm getting off topic. Oh, we're 9 minutes in, almost in, on getting off topic. This is exactly what happened at the convention. You guys are not missing anything. You're not missing out on anything. I try my best to explain AU Pro Hoops. Not much information out about it right now. But, since this is an episode that I can edit and record whenever I want to, this will be very more detailed here, and I won't be sitting here extremely nervous. So, yeah. What else did I talk? I talked about myself and why I do the podcast and why I got into it, and of course, I've said this multiple times, but if you're new here and you're listening from the convention and just want a refresher, I'm a college student who, at the time I was 17 when I started this show, and I noticed there was not enough coverage of women's sports, and I was like, what am I going to do about it? And I was like, I'm going to start a podcast, and I think this podcast has really helped me with my speaking skills, if you know what I mean. I really am introverted, number one, so I don't like talking to people, believe it or not, and I don't like public speaking, so doing this and just sitting here and talking and working on my speaking skills has been really helpful, and hopefully it'll be helpful in the future, whether I'm reporting or um, even doing a podcast still. Like it's just a great way to build that skill. Um, and so yeah, I'm doing my best to cover as much as I can across the world. I'm kind of focusing on uh, United States and England right now. Those are my main ones, mostly because like that's all I know about. I'm trying to expand a little bit, and hopefully I can bring people on to help me out with that here. I'm also trying to learn about new sports. For example, I said this at the convention too. I don't like hockey. I do not like hockey. I work for two hockey teams too. This is great. I'm not the biggest fan of hockey, and so, but I noticed that there was a women's hockey league that wasn't really being covered, or at least I didn't think there was a lot of coverage for it. So I started talking about it on my show, and now I like the NWHL, which is now the PHF, which is a whole nother thing that I have to make an episode about in the future, hopefully. I am interviewing a women's hockey player in a few weeks, so we can definitely talk about it during that time. But I don't like hockey, started covering that. Same with softball. I didn't like softball growing up because baseball was my thing. And I was like, you know what? Women's softball is back at the Olympics. Let's see what all of this hype is about. Now I am a softball person. So I think just taking the time to watch these sports, even if you had like such a disdain for them growing up, it can be really helpful to just try and dive into it and see what happens. I hated soccer growing up, mostly because I got hit in the face, but that's like a whole other story that I think I talked about on this podcast. But then I went on to be goalie for my JV soccer team in high school. So that's a thing that has happened. But yeah, just trying to dive into those sports, honestly, seeing what happens. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I'm excited for what is going to come next. But first, I'm going to stop recording here because Gerald is calling me. Ugh. Can you believe this, man? I can't believe you just called me and FaceTime me. Anyway, we just talked for like half an hour, so it's okay. Like, we're chilling. Me and Gerald are besties. Again, I talked about him at the convention, too. He does not like when I talk about him on this show. But that's okay because it's my freaking show, and I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm kidding. What else was I going to talk about? Okay, I was writing about, and there's a little video interview online. John G's, what's it called? On the Beat. There's all these different links I was writing about in the patch, and if you're from Illinois, you know what that is. And then Global Women's Sports Radio, there's an article on me and what I did at the convention. I'm really sorry about the whole audio from the episode that I recorded there. Again, the people that were there, that's your little lucky one-time thing, I guess. I'm really sorry that there's no evidence of it, but it happened. There's photos. So I'm really sorry about that, but check out the interviews that, or the interview that took place on YouTube, and then there's articles linked down below, and of course, check out podcasts that I've been on. But now let's go back to talking about the WNBA. Now we're going to jump over to a little talk with my friend, TheSkyShowChi, who's been on this podcast before. I did a little conversation talk with him. He was at Game 4 yesterday, and he's probably going to have a lot to say. So without further ado, let's jump right over to TheSkyShowChi and what he thought about the finals and, what's going to happen with the celebration and everything like that. As I said earlier, today I have someone joining me on the show. We got the TheSkyShowChi back on the pod. We're going to be talking about the WNBA finals. And, what just happened? What just happened?
I don't know what happened. I'm gonna blacked out throughout the whole thing. It's kind of surreal. It's the Sky are champions. They're the top of the league in 2021, and it all happened, and it's nuts.
Yeah, it's like we were saying before we got started. I've been waiting for like 10 years for this. I've been watching. Yeah. I said this in the. I was interviewed the other day after my podcast recording. And I was like, I went to my first WNBA game when I was in like second grade, and we went for camp day. I'm
Hmm.
assuming because the tickets were cheap and it's like
Yeah,
women's basketball, so
yeah,
who cares? But
yeah.
I was in second grade at the time, so I didn't know any better. But like my first game was Mystic Sky. This is Stephanie Dolson blue hair era.
Ooh,
You
ooh,
know,
a
I remember the
classic.
game. I remember the game. They lost. The Sky lost that game. Um, but like I want to start off with that first. So that trade with the between the Sky and the Mystics, of
Hmm.
course, has
Hmm.
proved to be so worth it.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit.
It feels like a win-win trade, like ultimately in the end. I guess it's kind of similar to there was like a Connecticut LA trade with like John Cole Jones and Chelsea Gray. I think this is kind of comparable because I mean the Mystics got Elena Delle Donne, a franchise talent, a superstar talent, and this guy got strong talent too, a potential superstar in Clea Copper. Actually, we probably should take out the potential part. That's kind of superstar like postseason
Yeah,
easily right there for Clea
yeah,
Copper, Finals MVP, and then Stephanie Dolson, who's such a strong, important player in this role in Chicago as a starter, as a sixth woman, and clearly, if you saw the end of the game, it was just the baskets that were needed to win the
yes.
game, like the clutch baskets at the end. It was all good. It's a win-win basically, and both of those franchises have a championship now, and it's nuts. It's what the Sky needed during the whole like rebirth after that trade. It got us to this point, and that's amazing.
I was I was like reading through when I watch these games, I'm also actively on Twitter. So it's like multitasking a little bit, trying to see like what are people number one that are at the game? What are they doing?
Hmm.
What are they
Yeah, for sure.
noticing? What are people that are watching the game at home that are journalists? What are they noticing? And what are fans like just in general noticing? Um, I want to talk about, I don't want to talk about the team for this one second. I want to talk about dude on the sidelines really quick. So game four, for people that didn't watch, there was a little interaction on the court side between someone and Skylar Diggins Smith, which by the way, I would just like to say that I am such a huge fan of Skylar Diggins Smith. And
For sure.
obviously, like, I hope she wins a ring one day, but this year ain't it.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe if she ever wants to come to Chicago and then win
yeah.
the ring here, I mean, I
Yeah.
think we're all totally cool
Do
with
we
that
have
too.
the cap space for that?
Oh no, no, no! I mean, it's like this is like future talk, but
Yeah.
future
We don't
talk.
have the cap space for that right
Um,
now. But
no, no, no.
just like obviously you have to know how to behave at these games. And doing this kind of stuff to players is so unacceptable. I just like one of the things that I noticed a lot on Twitter is like this one people pointing out this one dude and just how he's being an asshole. I feel like is the best way
Dang.
to put it. While these players are trying to like force a game five, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's nice. Actually, I kind of missed that. I was at the game, kind of watching from like up above was my seat. But yeah, I completely missed that part. Yeah, I feel like I missed a lot of the game. I know I missed a tweet about like Diana Taurasi spitting on the court too. So
Oh, I
I
didn't
feel like
hear
there's
about
just
that.
yeah, yeah. I think there's just was a lot happening. Like all of WNBA Twitter media and everyone like involved with WNBA was at the game. So I'm pretty sure everyone saw everything that was kind of happening. But yeah, I kind of missed that part. But the fans were rowdy, in both like the good and the bad. Well, that was the bad way, but it was also like a really strong fan showing from Chicago, and it was just an intense atmosphere for sure.
Yeah, I was kind of like I was sitting on my couch, super, super anxious because the
Yeah,
Sky for the most part were losing the game, and it's like I was sitting there thinking, okay, it. I didn't expect it to be this close. I thought it was gonna be like another blowout win for them. But obviously it came down to the final moments, and one of the heroes of the game was Stephanie Dolson, who I don't think gets enough credit. And fun fact for people that haven't heard about this already, she's the first WNBA player to win an Olympic medal from what is it, the 3-on-3 thing in the
yeah,
Olympics, and
the
then
3x3, yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah,
WNBA champ.
yeah. I remember seeing that fact that whenever a team has like a Olympic year, the team without the Olympians always kind of wins that finals. That's funny, but yeah, Steph Dolson finally broke out of that weird curse thing, and she's both a Olympian gold medalist and a finals champion. That's Steph, and that's Chicago, and that's all we want to see.
There were just so many great moments
Yeah.
from this year, just in general. Um, and even like last year too. I feel like I kind of want to combine these past 2 years because it doesn't feel like it's been that long. We
Mhm.
there was a lot of great stuff that happened in the wobble, and then like transcribing to being in person at games now, and
Mhm.
literally like being there and enjoying it. I went to the I only went to one of the games because life. I went to the what is it? What's the first round called? Is this
That
just the
uh
round
like that it was like the oh it
plan?
was like first round one or the semifinal.
When they
What did
played
it say?
Dallas, I was there. I was in
Yeah.
person, and there weren't that many people there. And my uncle, who doesn't watch women's sports, he doesn't
Yeah.
watch women's sports at all. In fact, he was watching football during that game, and I was like, "What are you doing? You'd rather watch Sam Darnold try and throw a football than watch the Sky advance to the next round." I was like,
Right.
"Okay." And he was talking about how no one was there. There were
Yeah.
people in the stadium, obviously, but game 3 and game 4 were sold the fuck out. Let's talk about how that happened exactly. I just
Yeah.
want to say that you don't see this too often, which is a bad thing. It's a really good thing that people are there and showing the hell up, but we need to make this more of like a every game there needs to be people in those seats.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
do you think about all this?
Yeah. Yeah, I was out at that single elimination game too. Yeah, I mean I could definitely hear what he's saying about like the very top rows. There wasn't anything or anyone in like the 200 levels or anything. It was still well, this guy played pretty well that I mean they won and they played well that game. But yeah, it wasn't like the crazy crowds that this guy ended up getting after those single elims after playing in Connecticut. That game 3 and game 4 for both the Connecticut series and the final series. It was the crowd. It was kind of just the momentum of this whole postseason run, kind of like just coming up with people just really wanting to show out, wanting to see what's going on. You saw like a bunch of just different people finally at the games. The whole stadium just packed. Parking was a mess and just always super filled, like all like 6 levels of parking. And it was just a lot of people just wanting to see what this team was about, and that they were fighters and they just kept winning against like opponents that were really strong. And yeah, I think James Wade always says that like Chicago wants a champion and a winner, and this guy delivered and they provided that to them, and everyone just wanted to see it. It was nuts. That was also great. And yeah, I think yeah, for this to like carry on, I think this is kind of like a starting point. Like this is a starting point for some people, like experiencing going this postseason run. Hopefully they've like followed even just maybe after like the single elims, kind of seeing what this team's about, the offensive skill set, all the stars of them, Vander Quiggs, Clay Copper, Azri Stevens, Steph Dolson, all of them kind of just playing out of their minds. And then Candace Parker being obviously the headliner for most people, like the most popular of the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's all kind of just growing all together. It's cool, and it's hopefully it feels like something that's gonna just keep pushing Chicago to keep coming back to Winchester even next year.
I hope there's a lot more people there next year because like
Yeah.
you can't just show up for this and be like, okay, we did our thing, now we're done. Um, and one thing that I've been super pissed about, and I don't even know if this is considered an unpopular opinion now, because people want more coverage for women's sports, even though if it may seem like bandwagony. Like, so I follow NBC, what is it, NBC Sports Chicago, and
Yes.
they're always posting about like the Bears and the Bulls and the White Sox and the Cubs and the Blackhawks. And now, like when they made it to the finals, when the Sky made it to the finals, they made a post, and I was like, I clicked on their profile and I just went scrolling. I went to town and I was like,
Right.
Is this your like first ever Sky post? Same thing with like NBC5 Chicago and CBS and ABC, like all the networks. I don't understand. Sometimes I'll like stay up and watch NBC. Because I in terms of like local channels, NBC is my favorite, but that's just me. But still, like the point I'm trying to make is they don't really cover women's sports in general. And it's just so like, oh my god, they only cover it when something happens. You cover every single Bears loss, Cubs loss, White Sox loss, just like men's sports loss in general, win or lose. That's covered. When the Sky win the championship, okay, let's talk about that. Or even when they made the finals, it's like, oh, now the Sky are playing. Where were you like when they lost to Connecticut last year? When they were in the playoffs? Where were you when they were in the wobble, or even before that? Like, I'm so tired of this like bandwagony BS where it's like, oh, you see a thing that's happening? Wintrust is sold out. Now I guess we gotta go bring our networks there. I am tired of it, and it's just makes me very frustrated.
Yeah. There has to be like a way for it all to work out. I guess I don't know media companies super well, so I don't know. I guess they're just focusing on other stuff, or they're just I don't know exactly what's going on. I definitely see the push though from social media, which is why I kind of always love social media, just pushing for that the content, those people to come out to show themselves at the media availability. I think the most iconic one was Annie Costable's tweet from the Sun-Times.
I love Annie so much.
Yeah, just tweeting out just like there's no one at this media availability. It's literally like almost the finals or semifinals or whichever.
Yeah.
But there's like no one there, and that doesn't make sense when like all these people kind of showed up at the very end. I don't know what it's gonna take. I'm more in the skeptical route of just like those outlets aren't gonna be the ones they'll bring us to like the WNBA's next step. It's kind of like the smaller outlets, the independent outlets, Just Women's Sports, Highlight Her, all those like the Next Hoop, Winsider. It feels like those are the people that are gonna bring us to where the WNBA needs to go. And then hopefully those other like local media kind of just, I don't know, just kind of figure it out on their end, because it doesn't make sense, and there has to be a better answer than just them showing up at the last minute, which I'm assuming they're also probably going to show up for the parade and stuff and the rally and stuff tomorrow too. So I'm pretty sure I'll see all those chucks and just give a side eye to them.
Well, NBC Chicago is or the sports thing. They're doing a live stream. Even the stuff that will be streamed on like the mayor's social, but they're also doing a stream too.
Right.
And I'm so mad. I have to work tomorrow morning. And like, you can't just bring this up. Like this afternoon, it was like, I was scrolling through Twitter at a red light and I saw it and I was like, excuse me? Like, why can't you just have it on a weekend? Why does it have to be, unless, players are leaving already?
Yeah.
I think they're not.
No, I think that really is the case, actually. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know Kalea Copper's team, she's playing with like CBA Avenda in Spain.
Yeah.
She's with like Katie Lou Samuelson, Carly Samuelson, and Bella Alari. I forgot her. But yeah, they're already playing. I think like the kind of like the real jobs for these players, since those jobs probably pay a lot more than their current like WNBA jobs. That's kind of like starting up. So I'm pretty sure that's like the main reason for like moving this up so quickly and so rapidly. It's tough, and it's definitely tough for fans and everything, and you expect kind of like a lesser turnout because of this, but hopefully there's still, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I'm pretty sure this will be good Chicago showing. At least I hope so.
I really wish I could be there. It's such like, I think it's such BS. Also, like, I hope kids are being called out of school tomorrow type deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you even think back to the Cubs like championship, it was like a full like
Yeah.
the city shut down, kind of
Mhm.
like everyone can take off, and
Yeah.
I think that was like even on Friday too, so that kind of made sense. But
But
yeah,
when,
it's yeah.
sorry,
I
go
don't know.
ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say my mom used to work on Michigan Avenue, and when the Blackhawks won, this one she
Mm,
remembers specifically. And I think the Cubs, did they go? I feel like everyone goes down Michigan Avenue, you know.
yeah,
But she
yeah,
just sent me all these crazy pictures of people like on light posts and whatever, just like chilling. And she had to like
yeah,
hang up all the
yeah.
signs outside her store. We're like, we don't have public bathrooms. Hopefully, it's not as messy as those because those I feel
Yeah,
are more in terms of men's sports. I feel like there's more toxic people within that than women's
yeah,
sports, but I
yeah,
don't think it'll be too bad. We're okay.
yeah. Maybe it'll just be me up at that light post then. Maybe I'll just climb a light post just
I
just
hope
to top
someone
it.
takes a picture then.
Oh, boy.
I hope someone was like, click, we got it. Um, yeah, that's kind of disappointing though. If they're already gonna leave right away, like they don't get any freaking break.
No.
No break. And it's so bad. I wish there was a better way. Well, there is a better way, kind of. Do you want to talk about AU Pro Hoops for a second? And then we'll go back to
Yeah,
what
sure.
we were talking about. So AU Pro Hoops, which is the fourth league in Athletes Unlimited, which is by the players for the players. If you didn't know, I've made an episode about Athletes Unlimited softball. I've interviewed someone that played in Athletes Unlimited softball. So if you want to check those episodes out, they're available to listen to. I'm a huge fan of AU. I don't know if you know a lot about the league, but I'm such a fan of what they do. And when I heard they had a basketball league, at first I was like, I am not a fan of this idea. It was mostly because I thought it was going to be like competitive. And
Mm.
then I saw when they were doing it, I was like, never mind. I really like this a lot, actually. So they're doing it in January to February, January of next year. And the founding members of that group are Natasha Cloud, Cindy Colson, and Tamira Young. So what do we think about this? Do you like this idea? Are you excited about who could possibly be in this league? Is there anyone that you're hoping to see in this league?
Yeah, no, I was able to catch like a few Athletes Unlimited things, just like following Natasha Cloud's account. I know she definitely posts a lot, just like pushing for that league, the softball there. And I think her wife or fiance is on like one of those teams there
Yeah,
too.
Alicia Ocasio, who just won
Yeah,
Athletes Unlimited softball. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So so I think the integration to basketball is important. It's what we kind of want to see with these women and their like basketball careers and kind of developing them and kind of helping them make this like a better career path rather than having to do again these like two jobs of overseas and here the league here. Yeah, I mean, there's been so many players that have already gone through the WNBA that just didn't have like their full shot just with only 12 teams out there. How many minutes in a game out there, there's like so much women's basketball talent just out there, and there's really nowhere at least in the US outside the WNBA where they could kind of show the case that off. Um, also, I mean, so many waiver cuts. I guess a name that comes to mind for me is like Jessica January, who was in the DePaul alumni. She's been like on again, off again, like training camp contract, and it's like you could tell how hard she works, and this is like an opportunity for her and many others that could kind of just play, show off their skills. The timing is very interesting with like WNBA free agency also like happening around that time, so something like AU can like help boost their kind of exposure to the teams, to the scouts and everything. It's a lot of like cool new opportunity. It's like an option outside of overseas too. Um, and I mean, Sid Colson anywhere is also like a joy and super fun. Ty Young, like wearing her Reeboks and everything, is also like going to be nuts to see. And yeah, it's going to be. I know there's like an interesting like scoring and points and everything system and everything like that. So I'm ready to see it. It'll definitely be at a part where like most people will be like itching for women's basketball, definitely in the U.S. if they're not falling overseas. So it kind of all works, and it's one of those things again that like promotes growth and helps just women basketball players.
I saw a tweet where someone said, "Well, Athletes Unlimited, they basically created a G League without, having to do it like in the actual W." That was kind of someone's take on it. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess that's true." It's not but it's not like the same kind of thing. I guess people could say it like that. Where the G League it's like you're a prospect and you're doing all this stuff. With Athletes Unlimited, you can literally be like a Natasha Cloud and go and play in this other league. It's another professional women's basketball league, which again is unheard of until like now. So just like seeing that kind of stuff, you could be a pro in 2 different leagues, and it's not.
And there already are like pros in 2 different leagues too, with like overseas stuff.
Yeah, make it 3.
Exactly. That's really interesting. It's like another G League. It doesn't make sense. I do wonder if like the WNBA or NBA, whoever's in charge over there, kind of comes in at some point and like interacts with AU at some point. But
I don't think
these
so.
Are like,
honestly, because the way that Athletes Unlimited is structured, which I cannot say how much of a fan I am of this organization, league, whatever you want to call it, because it is just such a good idea. And the fact that, again, it was started for players by players. The first league was softball, and it was started by these 4 different players. Erica Piacelli was telling me about this when I talked to her a few weeks ago. It's just like, how did they come up with this idea and the scoring system and all that? Because it's just so creative and so good. And they had the perfect opportunity to do all this when the pandemic was a thing. Well, it still is a thing, but in the beginning stages of it, being on national television and doing all this, AU has 0 problem getting national television slots. Most of their games, or all of their games, are available on YouTube, like after the fact. But when you're watching it on a broadcast, it's either on like FS1 or CBS, and then like maybe one of the games is on YouTube or YouTube Live or Facebook Live. They're already like way ahead of the game versus like the W or the NWSL. You know what I mean? Even the NWHL so far behind. It's like NWHL and NWSL, WNBA, Athletes Unlimited. Just because of the fact that they started off during the pandemic and they got these networks to show them, and now we're gonna see AU pro hoops on these networks, and it's just like, imagine getting your shit together, the kind of deal. Let's compare for a second. I didn't want to do that, but now I am. So we have the W, which is on like ESPN, ABC, Amazon Prime. They got stuff on
CBS. On Twitter sometimes.
On Facebook. And Facebook. And then we have AU, where you don't have to have like an Amazon type thing, where if you have all these different stations already, you're basically set and you don't have to worry about anything. I'm sure even with like a YouTube TV, these stations are available. I don't have that, but it's so much more available than the W. And this league is like 3 years old. Which I think is like, I don't even know if that's a sad thing or like a good thing. Just like, how do you think people will see this as like a competitive thing? And do you think that more people, when they're going to think about playing basketball in the US, you think they'll pick a 5-week type thing with AU, or do you think they're going to want like playing in the W, or like maybe even, let's do it this way, playing in the W or playing in like AU and international, because you can do international stuff, well, the W is a thing, because I know there's stuff going on overseas. What do you think?
It's really interesting to like have like a new option out there. It kind of like throws up like the the chemistry of everything. I could definitely see players doing both AU and WNBA. That makes sense, especially like the overseas component is like the biggest thing here, where like they don't have to go overseas in a new place, and instead of kind of just like rest their body, kind of get their bodies right for playing professional basketball. Um, it could be like really is I love the ideas of having this new ideas and new options added out there in the landscape. It kind of lets everyone else kind of reconsider what they're doing, seeing if they should do stuff better, pushing like even like the league to either promote in different places, get on other video streaming sites, making maybe also like even making their videos more accessible or anything like that. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's like a lot of different possibilities I could go down this way or with AU like out there in the fold. So I'm definitely like excited to see how this all kind of plays out and turns out.
And AU is so much more interactive in terms of like other professional leagues. Especially with like the AU app. I don't know if you know about this. But what do you know about AU? Do you
No, not as much. I'm kind of like
Okay, so I'm gonna
pretty
teach you all
involved
about
in
this.
WNBA. Yeah, sure thing.
A little teaching moment. You gotta listen to my episode though. You gotta listen to my other stuff. Come on, Brian.
I'm sorry. I've been on a postseason run right now of a
I'm
lifetime.
kidding. I'm kidding. Of course. So Athletes Unlimited, they have their own app, and they also have these different tiers for like membership. So I'm on the free thing right now because I'm broke and it's like a per month thing. I'm a broke college student, so I hope they don't expect so much out of me. But there's these different tiers, and I think my AU app has me logged out. I'm gonna log back in. Basically, what it does is each time there's a new season or like with a new sport, you get your unlimited pick. So what that means is that you pick this one player to follow the entire 5 weeks, which is how long their seasons are. It's like there's like 3 games per week, and each week they pick new teams. And there's 4 different teams. Everyone has like a facilitator is what they're called. They're not called a coach or whatever. And there's team captains based off the points. But you have your unlimited pick, and you pick a player you want to follow. So like for me with softball, I decided I wanted to follow Odyssey Alexander, who was a standout pitcher at James Madison. It's our first season with AU. And so I decided to do that. It's more interactive. When you go up on the tiers, like you can be able to like vote for MVPs of games and all that kind of stuff. So membership, I'm going to the website now. I'm on the rookie plan. And let's see if I click this link that says change plan, even though I'm not going to, there's captain, MVP, or I should do this in order. It goes rookie, pro, MVP, and captain, and it ranges different things per year. And you can do all these different things. Like you can have access to the member lounge. You can get 10% of your membership fee goes to the unlimited club player bonus pool. And you get to interact more with your unlimited pick, do like meet and greets, giveaways, all this kind of stuff. So this league is really like taking it to the next level in terms of interacting and all that. And also like, especially with softball, I don't know if they do this at the other leagues, but there's an autograph line after each game. And I have a softball. I can send it to you later. I have a softball in my room that's just filled with signatures.
Right.
After like I went to opening day and I just stood in line and these athletes just freaking signed this softball. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened kind of thing. But they're just doing such a great job. There's so many different things that I love about AU, and it's just the interactive thing, which I guess let's talk about something that's been happening more recently, going back to the W. There's this whole like media availability versus like
Mm-hmm.
journalists. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
sitting here thinking to myself, okay, I'm a college kid. I want to study journalism. I do this podcast. Sometimes I get to have athletes on my show. Sometimes I don't. I try to reach out, whatever.
Yeah.
But these journalists, their job is to cover the W. Their job is to like get what players are feeling and write it for like whatever newspaper they're working for or website, whatever. The whole debate here is, I guess it's not if players owe, journalists anything. It's more like, how do I word this? Maybe it is that. To what extent should we be like pressuring these athletes in order to like get what we need to do our jobs in a sense?
Mm-hmm.
We need to do our jobs. But you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not a journalist yet. But it's just like this little struggle between I understand that, you're a journalist and you need this stuff, but these are also athletes who just, lost and are trying to process it. I want to know
Yeah.
your thoughts on this.
Yeah, no, I had like a similar thought, or I definitely agree with you. I definitely thought about it a lot during like the Aces Mercury game. And then, like after that loss, I think Aisha Wilson, yeah, was just like it's a rough time. It was like that was a close game. It was a game 5. It was up down to like the wire. And yeah, she ended up having to do like media availability. And she was just like devastated throughout the whole thing. It was like it was clearly like she shouldn't have needed to do that. Again, unless it was like her request or if she wanted to. But like even at that point, like it's like a mental strain, and it kind of doesn't. It seems like an old way of like journalism or sports writing or anything. It's not. It doesn't make sense for like now and the future. That's kind of always been my thought. I mean, there's always been like the Naomi Osaka press conferences with like the French Open, I would think, or Wimbledon or something that um, she just wasn't having. She didn't feel mentally right doing those, and um, it doesn't. It's there has to be a better way to do this. Basically, it shouldn't just be like so mentally crushing or like mentally exhausting to having to do like a media like availability. And then again, the same thing happened with Courtney Vandersloot back in 2019 with the turnover with the De'Erica Hamby out of bounds or whatever it is, and we don't even whatever that was, the De'Erica Hamby like heave. She ended up not doing media availability, and I definitely saw a bunch of like media members like saying like, "Why isn't she out here? I would have loved to talk to her about her feelings and stuff." But I mean, she actually wasn't having it, so it's yeah. I don't know the right answer here, or what media should do to get like both the media side and the players at a good spot. I think I saw the Mercury were ending up doing their media today at some point. So it's again just reevaluating kind of what the process has been doing and seeing if it could be better for kind of all parties involved, considering like mental health and players just going through that like really traumatic, like tough, like those tough moments in sports that we all kind of like love like watching and being a part of, but also like are super devastating for both fans and even more so for the players.
I just like people, at least on Twitter anyway. I haven't seen anything on social, like other social platforms. Just like fighting about it too is like we understand it's your job, but also like people are human too. And I think I decided what side I'm on now. Picking sides.
Yeah, I mean, but
Quotes,
yeah, also
people.
even picking sides is always like, I mean, you want like the best from like everybody, so it's like you're picking a side, but you still want like what's best for all parties, kind of. So, because I mean, everyone's just trying to do their best out there.
Yeah, honestly, like I couldn't imagine being forced to answer questions after something like that. I want to tell a quick story.
For sure.
So I used to be JV goalie for my high school. This was when I was actually at Joliet Catholic. I was JV goalie there. and I was really bad. I was so bad. I think my highest that I let in was like 17 goals. I could not imagine like some reporter coming up to me and being like, "So how did you feel about that game?" I probably would cry. It's not the best thing to compare with, but that was a very traumatic game for me, number one, and I still like think about it sometimes too.
Right, yeah.
You can't expect the world from the players. You have to let them like grieve in a sense.
Yeah.
Because they just lost.
Yeah.
Really badly. Like, so it was such an important game for them, and they ended up coming short. We cannot expect these people to just automatically be like, okay, that happened, so I guess I'm gonna go get asked about how I feel after this loss, even though it's pretty clear like it sucked and I don't want this to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like the media has been there for like this player's like entire every second like of their career, or even like before their career, or like the years it took to like get to this point. So then like kind of to ask questions, it's hard to have like the whole perspective as a media member, and then even like in like a devastating loss or anything like that. So it's all just tough. Again, it's something that just needs reevaluation, I think, from both sides, and there's like a better way to do this.
The league needs to change their policy because right now it says that every player has to have like media availability.
Right.
People didn't know
Yeah.
that, which I feel like is so outdated. I kind of like what Phoenix did. You don't even have to have people in person, especially in the age of Zoom. Like just do a press conference whenever, like a day after maybe, and be like, okay, we kind of like grieved for a little bit. Here's how we're feeling right now. That type of stuff.
Right, for sure.
So I want to talk about some of the players, and like who our favorites were throughout the entire playoffs. Of course, I feel like Copper, who, by the way, I just want to say, I feel like no one really knew her this year. And I would like to say that I was in that boat too. Not a clue. When it was like mid-season, I was like, oh, this is a person I think I'm going to continue watching for a little bit longer. I've always been a huge Allie Quigley fan. Like, she's the reason that I watch the W. I've said that before on here and on social. But Courtney Vandersloot, honestly, favorite person to watch throughout these entire playoffs, especially like all the crazy stats and like records that she broke. I mean, come on, how can you not like sit there and be like, holy shit, she just had a triple double? Like, there's so much happening.
Yeah, I mean, she's always been like a strong assist player. Those numbers make sense for like the player that she is. She's unique in like a pure point guard stature. Like the scoring is there if needed, but it's passing first. It's finding ways to get looks for your players. And she knows how to do that through and through. And there's still like it's so pure a point guard. And I think it caused like all these stats to come up. It caused her to like be able to control the game so much. It's pretty unique, and kind of, I mean, she's dominating that kind of PG role, and it's pretty awesome that she's in the Sky uniform.
Yeah. It's more than pretty awesome. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Just the fact that number one, she's here in Chicago, and she had a great college coach. Like, I'm a huge fan of Kelly Graves and what he does, especially with Oregon in the past few years. Who was your favorite person to watch within these playoffs?
I've been always kind of been a big Azrae Hype Train fan.
Oh, I know. I was gonna talk about her too. It's so good. So
she had such a great 2020, like the start of 2020 until like her injury. She was really dominant. She was a clear like starter there next to Steph Dolson. And then it was just an injury that just like took her out of like all kind of considerations of like MIP or any kind of like high list or anything like that. I remember there's like an under 25 list also that came out at some point from ESPN that like put her pretty high up there. it's like was definitely out of like people's brains, except for mine with my train. So I mean, to finally see her like really recover from her injury from even the start of the season to starting next to Candace, and then putting up such like really great showings, especially the one against like Jonquel Jones, MVP Jonquel Jones. That's been just always been on the hype train, and just excited that she loves being in Chicago and that she's a champion now in Chicago after like a devastating like injury last year.
Her and just like also with her threes, every time she was going for it, I was like, okay, like I want to see more of this. Like anytime Chicago shoots a three, anyone besides Ellie Quigley anyway, it's like, okay. Like I want to see like Steph Dolson, Candace Parker.
It might be just like it might be just relative to like Quigley. Maybe just Quigley being there makes all of the 3-point shooters like a little less.
Yeah.
Like you don't trust them a little less just because Quigley's out there. Why don't you just throw it to her and just have her put it up, which she did in that fourth quarter. So
yeah, Allie Quigley was lights out. In that game 4, it was just. How many points? It was like 26, 28.
I think it was 26, yeah.
26, yeah.
That's nuts.
Great.
And people were saying that she's going to retire. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, no, you cannot just do that.
Let's just hold off there.
You cannot just do that, okay? I need a Sue Bird tour, number 1, and, like, Alec Quigley tour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I caught that. I don't know if other people will. I caught that. Okay.
Kind of mumbled through it, but it worked.
Yeah.
Okay. And I kind of have a hard out like right now, so I'm gonna have to head out in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I think I got
How many more minutes?
30 minutes in. I think just like maybe just like one more thing or so. Like
one more thing. I was gonna ask you about merch really quick.
Sure. Yeah.
So Chicago Sky obviously won championship, which means merch. According to some tweet I saw earlier, like this was the most amount of like championship merch bought within like the first day of them winning ever with the league, which I think is insane. And I know you're a big merch guy, wanting more merch in the league, especially with only like 3 jerseys being available, or 3 player jerseys being available. I think it was like the Shields, Parker, and Vandersloot this year for the Sky. Since, the Sky won, and everything like that, do you see that the W, especially with increased viewership this season, do you think that they're going to expand that a little bit next year?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it was kind of like planned to be this way. If it's as weird as it sounds, I think they wanted that demand. They wanted a hashtag WNBA, we need merch, just to keep building demand, because they wanted to make sure that whatever they made was going to get sold. That's more like conspiracy in my head, but I think they kind of like, they try to like do it kind of slowly from their end, just so they're not with like a surplus or anything that's not sold. As a big like merch head person, like I'm always kind of looking at like all the stock and stuff, and there is like other WNBA stock that's just like out there, not getting sold as much, which I'm guessing the WNBA is also looking at. But then when you look for like anything Sky, which is honestly what I'm looking for, it's like all gone, and the hype and demand for the Sky has been at its highest basically. So I think the WNBA is kind of just playing it as slow as they possibly can to get this going. I don't know exactly what it's going to take, but I mean, it has to be more merch, definitely more Sky merch next year. I'm definitely expecting, as champions of this league. So it's gonna come. We just kind of keep waiting, and I'm gonna just keep hashtagging, and it's gonna be here at some point. But just, I guess, be patient, WNBA fans, but also yell at people online and tell merchandisers to give us more stuff.
Well, Brian, I want to thank you for coming on, and really quickly, if you can point people in the right direction of where they can follow you and, all that jazz.
Yeah. I'm at TheSkyShowChi It's really hard to say. I'm so super surprised you got it like one stop easily. Everyone always kind of says it wrong, which I kind of love. At TheSkyShowChi, CHI, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. I'll be at the parade rally tomorrow, trying to post some stuff.
Well,
I'm gonna do whatever I can.
Technically
right now.
today.
I mean,
this is coming out tomorrow, so today.
It's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be nuts. Just follow me. I'll be hashtagging and stuff.
You gotta tell people about the episode too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Literally just tell people like, hey, so like an hour ago, there's a podcast episode that I'm in. Yeah. You should like. It was
like 5 a.m. or something. It was nuts. Yeah. So I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate talking, and go Sky and go Champs.
Thank you again, Brian, for coming on. Of course, I'll link down below where people can follow you. But the episode isn't over, so let's go not flash forward, You're going to hear whatever I'm going to say next. So thank you, Brian, again for coming on, and let's just continue the episode now.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
I want to thank Brian again for hopping on the show for a little bit to talk about the finals and AU Pro Hoops and merch, because, we need more merch. Speaking of merch, I want to go through some of my recent purchases. Thank goodness for Afterpay and like the Pay in 4 stuff from PayPal, because oh my god, I am currently going crazy. I've been doing this thing where it's like, I want to support women's sports and women in sports. So what should I do? I'm going to spend a shitload of money. Shit ton. Whatever the wording may be. On merch. I have gotten so many different things within the past, I don't know how many days. So I'm just going to go through it. And of course, you can find this on Twitter again. It's at WSM Podcast. I post about it on there. I do a lot of posting on there. Anyway, so I'm a big fan of Breaking Tea, and I've always loved their shirts for a while now, so I decided I finally was going to purchase some. And I did this because I wanted to buy the NWSL Players Association merch, which is No More Side Hustles. They have that whole campaign. I've done an episode about it. A little bit about it, talking with Thomas Castillo, talking about the whole NWSL stuff that has been happening, to say the least. Anyway, love Breaking Tea, so I got a Justin Fields shirt because go Bears. I like football now, I guess. I've been trying to get into it. That's not the point. And I also got a Put Women's Sports on TV shirt, a shirt that I've been wanting for a long time, and that was the first order. Yes, the first order. Oh my god. Second order, which was purchased yesterday. First of all, I'd like to say I'm a huge soccer fan. If you haven't known that by now, then oh my god, where have you been? I got a It's Coming Rome shirt, because I saw it while I was scrolling through the soccer ones, and I was like, oh my god, I need this. I love, like, Jorginho and all those other players on the Italian national team. So I had to order that shirt. I don't make the rules. Maybe my bank account will make the rules. Maybe. And then we have what is this one? Oh, a Vanderquig's 2021. It was a shirt that came out yesterday from Breaking Tea, or maybe if you're listening to this tomorrow, on the actual day it's posted. 2 days ago. It's basically, Vanderquig's 2021 Champs. I needed that shirt because they're iconic. And I am such a huge fan of Allie Quigley. Like I said earlier, she's the one that got me into basketball. Going to the same high school that she did, and having my eyes open up to like what she did for the school and what she did in college and is doing right now in her career is absolutely fantastic, and I needed a shirt with her name on it. I already have a jersey from like 3 years ago, and then I bought a shirt that says Brianna Stewart is really good at basketball, I believe, and yeah, but that's not all. today I actually got, on the 18th of October, 2021, I got my Meg Reyes shirt, More Diverse Voices in Sports. And I got it in the Gotham colorway because I like that more than the yellow. It's such a nice looking shirt. In fact, I'm going to post about it right now because I've been meaning to do it, and it's 9 p.m. So I'm sure she's going to see it. Just got to retweet this one picture of Kalia Copper really quick. Because she's an icon now. She's definitely an icon. I want one of those shirts where she's like looking at, what's her name? What is her name? Sophia Cunningham? That's funny, and if you don't know what that is, oh my god, then you are not following what's happening in Chicago and the finals and all that jazz. So I'm just going to make this tweet really quick, like, love my new shirt, and I love what Meg Reyes is doing. I'm a fan of her. So I bought that. I bought, of course, I don't know if I talked about this on here, but I bought the Overdue hoodie from Brianna Stewart's collection with Puma. And I'm still waiting for my softball cards from Topps. Bummer that I don't have them because I really want to put them in my book. And then, of course, you know I had to cop the Rookie of the Year's hoodie from, what is this? Power Forward. So, yeah. And I got a discount on it too because I saw a thing on Twitter and I was like, I'm gonna buy it and my life will be complete now. Because it's such a cool design, and I'll post about it on Twitter when I actually get my order. Oh, and I also ordered a championship shirt from Fanatics because I needed one. As soon as I saw what it looked like, I was like, okay, I'm buying it. And now I bought it, and they won't be shipped until like November 1st. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But like I said earlier, like this is the most amount of shirts or whatever purchased in like the first 24 hours of them winning, which is crazy. Yeah. But what else is there to talk about? I've gotten to this point where it's like I'm sitting here and I didn't have anything planned, but I still made a really good episode. I've got some great interviews coming up. I guess I should highlight that really quick. And my sister is yelling upstairs, and I wish she would just shut the hell up sometimes. That's not very professional to say on the show, but I'm going to leave it in anyway because it's 9 o'clock and she's yelling. She's probably watching TV. Anyway, I've got some really great people coming on the show. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm just going to say it's like someone that runs a really great account on Instagram. We have an NWHL player coming on the show, or PHF, whatever the hell you want to say. I'm still going to call it NWHL for a while because habit. Yeah, I just did the little singing thing that I said that I wasn't going to do anymore, and I haven't done it in a while because I'm a really good podcaster and I'm running out of things to say. And then I'm trying to get my buddy on the show. I need to email his boss, though. So, Connor, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I'm behind. I'm so behind. And what else? I'm going on a show tomorrow. I'm getting interviewed, guys. I'm getting interviewed. It's going to be great. I can't wait to post about it. And yeah. Oh my god, is this the end? Is this the end of the episode? Oh my god. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I can't believe this episode is over already. This is nuts. We've done so much today. It's crazy. Again, please check out my interviews. Well, the interviews from me and people that have interviewed me, because I've been on other podcasts talking about other stuff. Well, it's not, some of them are interviews, some of them are just like collabs. I've done some collabs. And then check out the interview from Joey Roth that will be linked down below. Of course, all my interviews will be linked down below. Why am I losing my train of thought? Is it because I'm tired? Is it because it's 9 o'clock on a Monday night? Oh my goodness. Anyway, please subscribe to the pod, follow on Spotify, all that jazz, Come on, support me in my endeavors. Oh, I didn't say it's time for my spiel. It's time for my spiel. Okay, we're doing the social media stuff. I said all the other stuff, so I don't have to repeat that again. If you want to follow me on social media, guess what? You can. On Twitter and Facebook, it's the same handle. It's at WSM Podcast. And on Instagram, you can follow me at Women's Sports Matter. My YouTube channel is the Women's Sports Matter Podcast. I've been trying to restart that. If anyone wants to help me out with those endeavors, let me know. Because I have school. And then this. Maybe I'll post everything in my off season. I've got a lot of great interviews that are going to be coming out within the next few weeks. And I probably won't be doing like a sit down talking about something for a while. Unless like breaking news happens with the league or whatever. Like another scandal comes out. I'm doing some collabs in the future too that I'm really excited about. And there's just so much that is going to happen with the show before the season is over. So I think I'm going to be ending in end of November, which means that I probably won't be able to cover the PHF season, but I'll be covering it on Twitter, so you need to make sure you're following me on social media because I will still be doing all this stuff just in text form. Maybe I can do a little Spotify green room thing, if that's something you guys would be interested in doing. I've never thought about doing that, but of course, send me all your ideas on social media. You can tweet me, you can DM me, my DMs are open. Just make sure you follow on social, interact with me. I love talking to new people and getting new ideas for the show. And I'm excited for what's going to happen within this next month and a half. And I'm going to be a little sad that it's ending, but it's for the best. Like, finals are at the end of December, or in the middle of December. So it's for the best. It's a good decision, and I probably won't be back until next year. But don't worry, I'm not ending the season today. Again, end of November, I will be done. So I really appreciate you guys listening to today's episode. That is on a Tuesday. I recorded this on a Monday. I say, to the stuff that happened today or yesterday. Do the math, guys. Of course, I gotta do my vaccine thing. If you haven't been vaccinated, what are you doing, fam? Use the link vaccines.gov. It's linked down below in the description. Enter your address. I don't have to be repetitive, but just get vaccinated if you haven't. Put your Addy in. See where your nearest vaccination site is near you, and let's beat the hell out of COVID. I would like to stop wearing a mask at school. So if more people would get vaccinated, that'd be great. But that's enough from me. I'm going to go finish some homework and not recall. I want to FaceTime my friend Gerald because I owe him another call because I hung up on him, like I said earlier in today's episode. So without further ado, I'm going to end things here. Thank you again for the people that were out in Rosemont. And this is your first episode since then. Again, thank you so much. I'm really sorry that my episode from there isn't today's episode. But I really appreciate the new listeners and the new followers on social media. And I'm excited to put some of this new stuff out I have in the next couple of weeks. So, thank you again so much for listening to another episode of the Women's Sports Matter podcast. My name is Gianna Del Castro, and I'm your host. I'll see you next time, folks. See ya.